Hi.
Hey, everybody. We're here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Kinda.
It's been an adventure the past few days at our house.
Wow, has it?
I got the chance to play Nurse Dad for a few days.
Mhm.
That was fun.
He does a good job with it.
And Tanya got to play,
Patient on a deathbed.
well, and you had kids like climbing on you. What's a good word for
yeah,
that?
they've all been trying to like reattach themselves to me.
A bit.
It's been great.
Yeah.
I love them so much.
Yeah.
It was really sweet. I was like, "Oh, they all want to snuggle me." Then it's like, "Oh my gosh, there's literally been
need
someone sitting
space.
on me all day long." Like,
So yeah, Tanya may not hang around for the entire deal tonight, but she's here. So let's we're having a quick moment here. It's all right. Um, but anyway, glad to have her here. So we're gonna be chatting a little bit about travel tonight. And bring this up. Our question of the day is: what is your favorite travel memory from 2022 so far? So it's hard to believe we're kind of in the downward slope of this year, and would love to hear from you. We've had a lot of great responses in the comments, and even
exactly 2 months to your son's birthday.
that's true.
I know.
And so it's my half birthday.
Well, oh my goodness. Happy
Too.
half birthday.
Yeah. Well, I
A
mean,
very merry birthday to you.
to you. Sorry,
You're
me.
supposed to say to me.
What? I don't know. Sorry. It's been a week. But again, what's your favorite travel memory from 2022? Would love to hear from you on that. Hey, Dave.
Hey, David.
Good to see you, buddy. And then let's see here. What else? We'll put this up there. TravelmationTeamRogers.com for all your travel planning needs. And if you want to share with folks on how to watch Travel Tips Tuesday, if for some reason the Facebook link goes down, which has happened before, the
Like
YouTube link is on here.
ago?
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
Our Facebook links, the YouTube link, and also the podcast link are on our link tree at linktree.com/Travel Tips Tuesday. So you can definitely check it out. Check it out there. So a few things have been going on a little bit recently in Disney history. So
Disney history.
Well, I mean, it's kind of historic in a way.
You just meant Disney news.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Disney
you were like
news.
commemorate. I mean, well, because like last Friday was Mickey Mouse's birthday, so that was like a big deal.
Shall we commemorate it?
He was like 90 something, 6.
Yes, we'll go with that.
Happy birthday.
Whatever you just said. Happy birthday to the mouse. The mouse is, I guess, because they also celebrate Minnie's birthday too.
The mouses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Meese.
That's the
Happy birthday to the Meeson. So Mickey Minnie's birthday was fun to celebrate.
So that was Disney history. So, great. Yeah. You had your Disney history. Now we can do our Disney news.
The end. Disney news. So War of the Bobs. Let's talk about it. You okay over there? you need do it. So War of the Bobs. So if you have been under a rock or not aware of what's going on, like I even talked to somebody today who's like, "Oh yeah, I saw about this because this has been in business news. It's been all over social media, everywhere." Chief Executive Officer, or should I say, former Chief Executive Officer Bob Chapek was asked to step down. Supposedly very, very close to when the announcement was made public about him kind of just the board not being satisfied with his performance at the time, looking for a change of direction in at the top of the food chain of company leadership. So they're bringing back Bob Iger for a couple of years. He's on contract for at least a couple of years. And then within that time period, the plan, I believe, is for him to kind of groom and get ready that sort of next successor.
Which he did not do last time.
Yes. So it wasn't, I mean, you can't really blame it on the pandemic because Chapek stepped in as of, I think, February of 2020. But one of the things, I was just on the Imagineers podcast with my friends Matt and Susie Bryan, and some of the folks from the Main Street Electrical podcast were on there as well. We were celebrating the Imagineers 200th episode, and we were talking about this a little bit, that legacy is a big deal to Bob Iger moving forward. Which is, all over. You look at where Bob Iger was brought in under Michael Eisner initially, who Michael Eisner came in the 80s, and they were both part of a lot of huge moves in the company, in the parks, but also related to the film and TV industry that Disney was, kind of got their start in before parks. So looking forward to seeing where that goes. There are a couple of names that have been tossed around for the next successor.
I just need him to bring back APs.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's at the top of a lot of people's list. So that would be nice. And that was actually sale of annual passes is one of the things that has been out there to help boost.
But that's also
revenue.
News.
What's that?
They opened back some type of annual pass for Disneyland, did they not?
Yes. So yeah,
So I
that is
mean,
true.
just saying. Like,
Some
but before we move on, I saw the little. There've been lots of like good memes about this, right?
there've been a
Did you see
few.
the one where Taylor Swift is like,
Oh no, I
my
did not.
ticket sales shut down the internet, and Bob Iger's like, hold my Dole Whip.
Yeah,
That was my
good.
favorite.
That was a good one. And the other one of my other favorites is the Haunted Mansion memes that are floating around. The one because apparently, like to the day, it had been 999 days since Bob Iger had like taken over. So there's been all these like Haunted Mansion memes, like there's always room
I
for
did.
all that. Yeah. So anyway, so yeah, a bunch of different things that could help bring in some revenue. Dave Madrone says Star Cruiser getting discounts. And then
The problem with that is they finally realized they priced it too high.
Yeah, a little bit, but
and they're trying to backpedal without
backpedaling. Yeah, trying to do it. Yeah. So and then the other thing is, what was it? There's the discounts. Hey Jen,
Hi,
discounts and annual pass holders. Oh, the dining plan is another
Dining
thing that was on the list. So dining plan's not coming back, but it was just on a list of things supposedly. But I think again, the big holdup with the dining plan is manpower, so staffing issues basically related to the restaurants. There are still some locations that are not open. There are some that are only open on certain days. So just be aware of that. So Jen says she's finally healthy enough to be back to the pod. So
we are so glad, Jen.
We are glad that you're back.
I'm not healthy.
Tanya is not. She may not. Don't make her laugh. That won't end well. So
that's not even it. Sometimes it's just breathing.
By the way, that's for you right there on the floor if it's too cold.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm okay.
Our office gets very chilly, and it's like,
well, the builder decided not to insulate this room, so like legit. In the attic, just like the whole corner of the attic, he just didn't insulate. So
yeah, it is 42 degrees outside.
It is like a good 10-degree difference walking into this room.
Yeah, so
it's really noticeable.
Good times, as they say. Yeah. So again, this issue of the transition, we won't belabor the point too much because if you're watching this, you probably know about it. You've seen it. It's everywhere. But if you have any thoughts on Bob Iger coming back on to Disney leadership, we'd love to hear about that.
Seen yet?
Any memes?
Share
those with us. Any memes? Feel free to since most of you seem to have my phone number, you can
text him during the show.
To me, text me during the show. Sorry, I'm making you laugh. So all right. So there are some more details. Speaking of Disney news specifically that came out, we were chatting about this a little bit last week. Some more details about the Epcot International. Hey, it's Paul. Hey, Paul. For those of you, is that a unicorn? I guess this is kind of a unicorn moment because he never. I guess we don't see him. So I have a brother. This is him.
I have a brother. He is a unicorn.
Though he doesn't look like that. It is picture that's popping up on screen.
Or doesn't he look like that?
Well, I mean, he does, but that's like from a picture from college, I think,
true.
or law school, maybe.
That's true.
But we're hoping to see him tomorrow, maybe.
I don't know.
we'll talk about that later as Tanya continues coughing. So the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays, that season begins officially on November the 25th. A lot of different things they're doing. I'm actually going to share this because I want y'all to see this. This is pretty cool. Some of the screenshots of present of some of the things we're going to have doing. So this is a screenshot of course Spaceship Earth. They're doing some sort of winter holiday themed lighting package on Spaceship Earth, which is pretty cool. That's sort of a snowflake present wrapped sort of lighting package from Spaceship Earth, which is pretty cool. Of course, the trees, the decor that's up, they're going to be doing a lot of really neat things along the way. I love for those of you that know me well. I love the Epcot International Festival of Holidays for a lot of different reasons. The food, the entertainment. It is a place you could easily spend the day open to close for a lot of different reasons. And I want to kind of go through some of those with you right now.
The festival?
Yeah, just
I could spend Epcot open to close.
Even like even all food stuffs aside, right? Because we talk a lot about food here. Surprise, surprise. But joyful, a celebration of the season. It is basically a musical ensemble performance right there on the World Showcase Plaza stage, which is between the port of entry stores, I believe, is where it's located. So,
okay, if it's up there,
yeah,
and it uses the words stirring and uplifting,
yes,
with Christmas and Kwanzaa, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's the gospel choir.
it is a gospel choir.
Good.
100%. Yeah.
I'm like, isn't that where they normally are?
Yeah.
They're just not saying gospel choir. I
Yeah.
wonder.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they're amazing. We saw them. Evelyn's been watching that fairy tale wedding show.
Mhm.
She found that on Disney Plus, and
There we go.
kind of getting on my nerves now.
been a
But it was
thing.
real cute at first. And in one of them, like the gospel choir's on there, and I was like, oh, they're so good.
Yeah. We can book fairy tale weddings too, by the way.
Totally.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you want to be on
That's
Disney
fun,
Plus,
Jen.
just kidding.
Like in the processional choir?
For the candlelight processional. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
That is cool.
So,
or for the gospel, I don't know.
Yeah. So my favorite thing about the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays is how the holiday traditions, around the world come to life around World Showcase. The Disney verbiage here: unique presentations include Las Posadas celebration featuring the Mariachi Cobre, the Mexico Pavilion, the Canadian Holiday Voyagers, and the Canada Pavilion. Hanukkah storytellers out between Morocco and France, and other delightful holiday storytellers around France, Italy, Japan, Norway, and the UK.
That has always been one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Like to find out the different celebrations in the different areas. Noel is my favorite.
Noel's fun.
He's the lumberjack from Canada. And I don't know if it's the same, but years and years ago, like on our honeymoon, so almost 16 years ago, he came out like a lumberjack, and he would just start talking, and like, he'd slowly shrug off his jacket or whatever, and like it was really gradual. By the end of his little 10-minute presentation or whatever, he was like very clearly Santa Claus, but they don't call him Santa Claus.
Right.
Or, I mean, they probably do, but
it's Canada, so it's like
it was like, I forget what they called him. Do they call him Father Christmas? Or anyway, it was like whatever they called him. He was very clearly that. And it was really neat to kind of like watch that transformation. But I really so I don't know if they've changed that particular storytelling.
Papa Noel. That's I don't know. That sounds kind of like French, or maybe that's Pierre Noel.
He's Pierre Noel, but anyway, and he was a good storyteller too. And it's neat how they all look different, because like Pierre Noel is like thin and tall, and our Santa Claus is like big old fat and jolly, and
a little bit.
So it was, and Yule Nissen is a good one too, from Norway.
Yeah,
that's one of my favorite parts, is the storytellers and the food.
The food, absolutely. The cookie stroll, which is a lot of fun. If you love the sweet treats, you can head around Epcot to see some of the countries. But it can be a little much for some. So there's
every station, the cookie you have to buy for the cookie stroll is not the cookie that I would have bought. So that's why I'm not a fan of the cookie stroll.
Fair enough. But you get the free bonus cookie at the end,
which is a sugar cookie.
Yeah, no, it
is. That one, you're not looking at it anymore. It's a sugar cookie.
It's a glorified frosted sugar cookie.
Yeah. It's
so
which I don't love those.
They are at the International Festival of the Holidays at Epcot. They're highlighting some new holiday kitchens, which is going to be pretty fun. So the Noche Buena Cocina Holiday Kitchen, featuring traditional dishes served throughout the holiday season in Latin America, including pernil, which is a mojo pork with tostones, and alfajores, and then vanilla shortbread cookies with dulce de leche and coconut, which sounds pretty tasty. So lots of different food things, the cookie stroll that we mentioned. Also, Olaf's holiday tradition expedition scavenger hunt.
Yeah, I do like that.
So you love the scavenger hunts, the things that sort of take you around Epcot to experience it. It's pretty neat. Great family activity for sure, which we're going to get into that tonight with some of our other content. And then, of course, jolly old St. Nicholas himself, from November the 25th to Christmas Eve on the 24th. Santa Claus will pay a visit to the Odyssey Pavilion. So he has been.
Oh, he's moved.
Yeah, so he has been at the American Pavilion before, but he will be over at the Odyssey Pavilion, which will be kind of neat to see. So for those of you that are looking, definitely check that out. So the Odyssey Pavilion is where the play pavilion is supposed to be, or was planned to be, at one point, kind of opposite. Do what?
What are you saying?
The play pavilion that was planned for Epcot, but I think supposedly maybe got tabled for now. Anyway,
what play pavilion?
She doesn't know. People tell her. So the play pavilion was announced at D23 like 2 or 3 years ago, I think, pre-pandemic.
Can you just tell me where the Odyssey Pavilion is?
And then yes, it's in. I mean, it's kind of right off Future World, sort of opposite where the Guardians of the Galaxy building is.
I have never been there with the Gardens of the Galaxy. I don't know where that is.
It's to the right of Future World.
Can you tell me where it is near something that I know and have seen and that was open when I've been there?
I'm trying to. I guess it's close to the Imagination Pavilion.
Jen, can you help me?
All right, we'll look at a map later.
Well, that's because everybody goes to Epcot and I'm not allowed.
So, all right, we'll look at a map later. So, all right.
Mission to Mars. Jen, thank you. Was that so hard? I know exactly where Mission to Mars is. It's been there for a long time.
So,
I finally got to ride it.
Black Truck
last year because I was by myself.
Mission to Mars. Wait.
No one rides that with me.
You mean Mission Space? Is that what we're talking about?
It's called Mission to Mars.
Okay.
I thought.
So, anyway.
But
all
no one ever, but you know the one, no one rides it with me. And I was there like a year ago by myself. And so I got to ride it. Oh, no, that was Christmas when we were there last year.
Sure.
And you were working.
Or something. Black Friday travel deals are live in a lot of different vendors. So not really Disney per se. Except you can, if you book an Adventures by Disney package, you can get up to a $300 gift card on a new Adventures by Disney booking, which is pretty cool. There are lots of cruise line deals. There are lots of deals for all-inclusive resorts that are out there, depending on where you're going to go, and a lot of those discounts and such depend on the cruise line, the sailing, the stateroom category ship, all that kind of stuff.
Virgin has some for the next 7 days. Yep. There's specific sailings you can get as low as $99 a night per sailor.
Yep.
Hit me up.
Yeah. There you go. So, all right.
2.5 weeks. I will not be coughing to death then.
We hope not, anyway. So, all right. So, again, if you're just popping on, thank you for joining us. Our question of the day is, what is your favorite travel memory from 2022? We want to know. If you want to share that with us, we've already got a few that were shared in the old comment feed here. So, all right. Yeah, no, that's fine. You go ahead. Tanya's going to step away. So we wish her and hope she feels better. But she did want to come in and say hello because she loves being on the show and we love having her. So there we go. So, but we are going to talk about
also, I'm out of water.
She's going to get a refill. So, all right. Our view count's already starting to drop. So yeah, well, what happens. But again, what's your favorite travel memory from 2022? Would love to hear from some of those. Over on my personal feed, had a lot of people sharing some pictures and even some video, which is really cool to see that. I love to see people sharing their stories and kind of capturing those moments and sharing those along with us. Our content, our sort of focus for tonight is the top family travel destinations for 2023. And these are ones that, if I'm just being honest, I kind of came up with, because when we think family travel destinations, a lot of times a Disney park goes straight to the top of the list, right? It's sort of easy pickings, low hanging fruit. So yay, Disney, of course, we'll put that at the top of the list. And we'll even mention that in our list here in just a minute. But there are basically 5 different things that I put on this list that I want to share with you to kind of get the wheels turning a little bit for a family destination. Some of these may be ones that you've thought of, ones that may fit well with your family, or ones that you may not say, you know what, I don't know. Maybe I haven't done that before. Maybe that's something we could do. Maybe it's a new thing for us. Maybe a new tradition, a new opportunity, right? Some of these things I'm going to mention are budget friendly. They're not all, let's go and spend tons of money. And some of them will give you a bunch of options. So let's go ahead and start up at the top of the list. And that is this adult only trips. So my first, and you're probably like, wait a minute. Okay. Adult only. What if I got like young kids and that kind of thing? That's not necessarily a family travel idea. But think about this. Adult only experiences could go a couple of different ways. Number one, I think they're very necessary for families. So giving moms and dads, giving the grown-ups an opportunity to get away, to reconnect, go on a trip with each other is essential, I think, for the well-being, the welfare of a family unit. So I think from that perspective, it definitely relates to family travel. Also, there are families that have kids that are grown up, right? As your kids get older, you're able to do new and different things. Our family, we're in this sort of phase of life right now where our kids are super high maintenance. Like nothing against them, they're just young, so they take a lot of care. I've been caring for them over the past week plus as our family has been working through a little bug that's worked its way through our house. And so yeah, I mean they take more care when they're younger. So there's some things you can't do, some things you can do when they're younger. But for those that have older grown up kids or adults only type vacations, we've talked about adult only trips before. Disney is one that you could put in there for sure for a lot of different reasons. But cruises and all inclusive resorts are huge. There's so many different opportunities to see the world, to see parts of the world, to experience it, not just go necessarily like park yourself on a beach or in a pool chair for a week or 5 days or however long it may be. Though if that's your thing, do that, right? That's one way to unplug because most grown-ups have jobs. They really very busy lives and they want to disconnect. But if you're looking for an adventure, if you're looking for a bonding experience, if you're looking to experience local culture, having an all-inclusive resort as kind of your home base is a great idea. Definitely something to look at if you've never done one. I did not go to my first all-inclusive resort until January of this year. Since then, I've had the opportunity to visit several from a few different brands, which has been great. And I can tell you they are a game changer in the vacation space. And I don't know why more people don't go to all-inclusive resorts. They're a lot of fun, a lot of great food, great entertainment, great opportunity just to hang out. The second thing is this: go on a cruise. And I don't mean just hop on a boat in the Caribbean. River cruising. And river cruising is not just limited to Europe, by the way. You can go to Africa. You can go to Europe to go on river cruising. You can go ocean cruising to the Arctic or the Antarctic, as the case may be. So there's lots of different ways to experience the world, to see it. The benefit, true benefit of cruising and all-inclusive resorts are essentially you're really only unpacking one time, and you get to see, you get to experience a lot, you get to do a lot without a ton of the hassle. You have a lot of great concierge folks that are on hand to help you experience the local destinations. I love cruises because a lot of times, especially if you go to, say, Europe or on like a Mediterranean cruise, or even in Asia to cruise there, you get to experience a lot of different cultures in a short amount of time, which is great. And it's a great opportunity for a family because you get to teach your kids about some of the things that they're learning in school, the sites that they're seeing, the cultures that they're hearing about. It's not just something they're reading in a book, but they're experiencing it in person. And there are a lot of cruises out there, by the way. Some of the European cruises and some of the ocean going options may come at a higher price point, but there are some cruises that are pretty reasonable, especially once the different ports in Mexico that are very safe, that are a lot of fun. Right. So recently I've been to Cozumel, been to Progreso, Mexico. There's a lot of other great ports in the Western Caribbean, kind of along Mexico. That would be a great option to see some really cool stuff. Like for those that are studying Latin American culture, Chichen Itza is sort of a quintessential part of the Mayan history, which is a really neat thing. So a lot of great things to see and experience when you go on a cruise or stay in an all-inclusive resort. So that's kind of the second. So first, adult-only trips, gave some options there. Second, go on a cruise. And then third, Washington, D.C. So for those of you that are in the States, or even if you're not, if you're coming and visiting the U.S., going to Washington, D.C. is a great opportunity. It's a great budget conscious opportunity as well. So you don't have to stay in the city. A lot of the resort hotels tend to be a little bit more if you're in Washington, D.C. proper, right? Especially if you're real close to a metro station in the city itself. However, you can go to a place like Alexandria. Tanya recently on the show shared about her experience staying in Alexandria and seeing part of the city. Alexandria is a great option. There's a lot of wonderful hotels that you can stay that'll take care of your family, even larger families. Embassy Suites is one. Hampton Inn Suites. Lots of hotels that offer free breakfast. Even is a great option to help you have a great budget conscious vacation. Washington D.C. is also in the driving distance. Is within driving distance for a lot of the U.S. as well, especially if you're in the eastern half of the country. Even if you're in the southeast up to the northeast, it doesn't take terribly long to get there. I mean, even from where we live in Alabama, we can be there within inside of probably about a 10-hour drive or so, which is not terrible, right? That's honestly less than it takes us to get to Walt Disney World. So Washington, D.C. also has a lot of museums, so up in the educational factor there. So if you're a homeschool family like us, it's a great opportunity, again, kind of like cruising, to see some things and do some things that you learn about in history books. But, it makes it more tangible. It makes it more real. And a lot of the museums are free, by the way. You don't have to pay to get into them. So that's a great opportunity. There are some guided tours if you're looking for like a guided bus option or a private guided option. Those are available. There's some that go daytime. There's some that nighttime. So there's a little bit of a different experience factor there, seeing it at night versus during the day. So a lot of great things to see, to do, to connect with. It's part of our nation's history, in and around Washington, D.C., even, getting out of the city for a little bit and seeing where George Washington's home was for a while, and even maybe going to a place like Williamsburg, a little bit further out in Virginia, is a pretty cool experience as well. So I want to pop back over here to the comments, so I'm not just blowing on through. Jen says, we used to go to the Old Man on the Mountain a lot as a kid at the Basin in New Hampshire, as well at the Squam Hotel. So fun, true stuff. So cool stuff. She also adds that honestly, DC, Philly, Boston, New York all have good places to go for sure. Absolutely. A lot of great opportunities there. The fourth thing on our list are the national parks. So as a kid, I don't know if my brother's still on or not, or if he's with our rest of our family for Thanksgiving. But one of my fondest memories of vacation experiences as a kid were our times when we went to the national parks out west. We've been to Yellowstone, Grand Tetons, the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, Glacier National Park, and even up to the Great Smoky Mountains, which is much closer to where we are in our side of the country. There's something just amazing that causes you to stop for a second. Even if you're a family that doesn't get out, say, necessarily a ton. I recommend taking a road trip out west. Just go, take a week, take a couple of weeks, and just go out there and see some of these things, because your jaw will hit the floor. You will see some things that you did not know just existed, like in our own country. The natural beauty, the wildlife, all of it will, I think, cause you to have a greater sense of appreciation for the creation that's out there, for the things that we have in our own country, and for the efforts that went to preserve those things, because there were people that wanted to develop some of that land out there, and thankfully it's protected. My favorite national park out of the ones that I named really is probably Yosemite, just because of where it is, and just the way Ansel Adams sort of captured it, and some of his iconic black and white photography is just absolutely amazing. So definitely a storied park in a lot of different ways. And one of the benefits of also going to national parks, if you like to hike, if you like to be active, a lot of great things to see and do. A lot of great guided opportunities with the National Park Service to see a few things. Camping is an option as well. Typically with most national parks, especially the big ones that I named out west, there are not a lot of places to stay that are close to the parks. You have to drive in. So if you're going to like the Grand Tetons, you typically will end up in a place like Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Or if you go to Yellowstone, you might still end up in Jackson Hole and drive through the Grand Tetons to get to Yellowstone. Or you might end up in a place like West Yellowstone or up in Montana. So lots of different options there for you for that. Yosemite is not a horrible drive from San Francisco as well, out there in California. Glacier National Park is actually a national park that spans two countries. Excuse me. Which is kind of cool. So in the U.S., it's called Glacier National Park. I cannot remember what it's called in Canada, but again, it straddles the U.S.-Canadian border, which is pretty neat. So you can see some really cool stuff there. And Great Smoky Mountains. So we love the Smokies where we are in the southeast U.S. The Smokies are not terribly far from us, maybe three hours or so. If you've heard us talk about Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge before, the foothills of the Smokies, that's kind of where we live in the Appalachian Mountains. But Great Smoky Mountain National Park is accessible readily from literally one end of the town of Gatlinburg. You can drive and you'll cross right into it. Most people that drive to, say, Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge or Sevierville, Tennessee, have to typically go through some part of the Smoky Mountains. Beautiful country, especially this time of the year, especially maybe a couple of weeks ago with the leaves being at their peak time, and it's just a fun place to go in the winter. A lot of cool stuff to see and do as well. And my last thing, so we talked about the adult only options, going on a cruise, Washington D.C., national parks, and then my last sort of sleeper option. And Tanya was like, "Why is this on the list?" I'm like, "Just hear me out for a second, okay? Just hear me out for a second." Arizona. So of course you've got like the Grand Canyon in Arizona, right? You've got Bryce Canyon. There's a few national parks and preserves that are in the state of Arizona, and they're in the Southwest U.S. But specifically, I want to talk about Sedona as a family option. Over the past year or so, I've had the opportunity to work with a wonderful family, actually two different families, planning a trip to Sedona, and I've learned so much about the area. And I'm like, wow, this really sounds like a cool place to go. Right? It's got a lot of really great family options in Sedona. It's Ian says Sedona is gorgeous. Of course, it's known for its beautiful red rocks, lots of really cool red rock natural formations as well. They're known for Jeep tours, so you can actually get out there in some of it, and you don't go far from town, right? And you feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere, but just beautiful rock formations out there. Lots of great, again, family activities. There are art museums out there. If you want to see shows, you can do that. There are a lot of places. One of the other things I like about Sedona, by the way, is that there are a lot of places to stay. With a lot of national park systems, either you end up camping inside the park system somewhere, with the proper permits and all that, or you end up driving in, right? So Sedona is a very drivable area, but the benefit is a lot of places you end up staying. Typically, the driving distance is not going to be terrible. Some people will fly directly into the Sedona area. Some people will fly into Phoenix and drive down. So there's a lot of different options for Sedona that I really like, and I highly recommend it. Even if you're looking for more of an upper scale experience or a value experience, again, options are there for you. And I'm just going to go through some of the like excursion options for Sedona real quick. I'm going to go back to, I had some of them up earlier, but I had to close that browser. So give me just a second here while there we go. All right. So all right. So yeah. So I mentioned the pink Jeep tours. There are also some other open air sightseeing tours that are out there. The Verde Canyon Railway Adventure. So there's an older railway that kind of goes through part of the canyon in the area that's really neat. There's a 3-hour tour, as it were, that's available there, and you have different like fare classes and whatever that give you different sort of benefits. But the cool thing about that is you get to see a lot of the area in a short amount of time. And if you're a photographer, absolutely a great option. Great option for you. There's not a lot of light pollution in the area either, so it's great for stargazing. So if you're a photographer, again, you like to take pictures of the stars at night, it's a great option. There are some wineries in the area as well. So again, lots of stuff for families, for kids, a lot of great things to see and do out there as well. And a lot of great, very, like I said, photogenic spots that I think you all would really, really like. So yeah, yeah, Jen. So I did it too. She said, anyone else at the Gilligan's Island in their head a little bit. 3-hour tour for sure. So Jen also said another big climbing community. So absolutely, if you're into outdoor adventures like rock climbing, bouldering, all that kind of stuff, whether you're being belayed or not, whatever style you happen to be into, definitely a lot of great options out there for you. So do not discount Sedona, Arizona as a great family destination for you. Highly recommend it. Definitely check it out. We'd love to talk to you about some options if that's something you're interested in. So, again, a lot of great stuff we covered today. Thank you again to Matt and Susie over at the Imagineers podcast for kind of having me on for a bit, along with my friends David Dollar and Jen Novotny from the Main Street Electrical podcast. We were celebrating their 200th episode, and that's a lot of fun. And we are getting close to our 200th episode too. So have some guests in mind to hopefully bring on as we get closer, maybe even an idea or two for that magical 200 episode. Hard to believe that's almost right around the corner for us. But again, we are very excited for the Imagineers. So let's pop over and take a look at our question of the day answers. And again, if you're just here now, you didn't see this earlier, our question of the day is where is your favorite travel memory, or what is your favorite travel memory from 2022? Let's take a listen. So let's see here. We're going to kind of go back here to the old personal feed because that's where most of our answers are. Yeah, Jen 200, so exciting. Absolutely. So we have, all right, here we go. All right, so a few responses. Thank you. First is our buddy Ben from the UK. So for those of you that have interacted with Ben before in the comments when he's been on the show, they are like 6 hours ahead of us, I think. So when he has been on, it's been like in the middle of the night for him, or he's been here stateside. So he sent us a picture of his daughter with Mickey hanging out at Tusker House at Animal Kingdom. And their trip was in the making for a long time, got rescheduled and moved around because of the pandemic. And they were finally able to make it happen a few months ago. And it was just such a cool picture to be able to see them. Joanna says that they went to Mexico this year for their anniversary, and it was her husband's first time out of the country. This is a pretty neat little story. And they were craving Doritos, of all places, because, hey, when you're in Mexico, Doritos, right? They were craving Doritos really bad, so they went on what was supposed to be a 2-hour shopping expedition, a little tour. 7 hours later, they got picked up, but it was kind of weird at first, but they said they had a great time and got to see a lot and experience a lot of things that they may not have otherwise. Tylen says their anniversary trip to on Virgin Voyages. So Tanya will be going on a Virgin Voyage here in just a few weeks. So that's pretty exciting with our friend Jody. I look forward to hearing back from them. But Tylen says that specifically laying on an outside couch with their shake to champagne. There you go, looking at the stars above while a crew member read us stories of the constellations. That is a pretty cool moment for sure. I like that. Levi says their whole trip to California as a family. He put a video in there that unfortunately I'm not going to be able to show. But their whole trip to California is a fantastic. But the night they stayed just south of Big Sur at Ragged Point will always be special. It's really cool to kind of hear about the special memories that are made. And then Heather says, I'm guessing their trip that starts tomorrow. She's going to Paris with her daughter. So that's pretty exciting for her 16th birthday. What a great place to celebrate for sure. Christy says their 12-day trip to Disney. That's a long time at Disney, but a great trip for sure. With Chrissy's husband and boys, mom, sister, and family, aunt and uncle. It's by far the most amazing time. And now they can only hope to have another trip like that in their life. That's really cool. Like, I love special moments like that. It's really neat. Christina says flying into Dubai at night, seeing all the lights on their way to the Maldives. And she was so overtaken with the gratitude and awe that she began to cry. That's really sweet. That's awesome. Rachel says taking professional pictures in Charleston on her baby moon for the first time since their wedding, which is pretty exciting. They used a service called Flytographer, which matches you up with local photographers that are on vacation. So that's pretty neat. Bob says Universal Hurricane Ian / Disney trip in the fall. Their kiddos kind of interacting with old Chef Mickey at Chef Mickey's is pretty neat. My friend Jeremy posted a picture of them with Mickey at Topolino's Terrace over at Disney's Riviera Resort, which is pretty neat. A lot of pictures of the characters. Sort of this first sort of season that we've had since the pandemic of being able to interact with them one-on-one has been pretty cool. Casey says definitely taking my girlfriend on her first cruise and then on our first time to Disney World and then proposing on our balcony while they're it looks like at St. Thomas. That's pretty neat. Tori says taking our 4 kids to beaches, Turks and Caicos, and renewing our vows on the most beautiful beach she's ever seen. That's really special. Tiffany says watching and hearing my daughter's reaction to seeing Cinderella's castle for the first time. Wow, that's awesome. And then old David Misty said, posted a fun picture of being able to experience a private viewing of the Country Bear Jamboree. 100%. Happened to be at that private viewing also. And man, that was an exciting time being able to see that celebrate our friend's birthday along the way. So super, super fun stuff for sure. So wow, a lot of great travel memories. And this is stuff that's just this year. Like, I love being able to share these things and celebrate them and talk about them and have a good time kind of together. So David Dollar, oh boy. Hey, David Dollar. So David Dollar says hanging out with John Rogers and Jared Massey at Disney Springs. That was a good time. We had a good time at Disney Springs, David Dollar. We did indeed. And I hope to have David Dollar live on the podcast here one of these days. So he's actually, David, you're on my short list, buddy. So hopefully we'll have you on here pretty soon. So a lot of great memories. Thank you for sharing those with us on the show, and thank you for hopping on in catching the show with us tonight. Again, sorry Tanya had to dip out earlier, not feeling well, but we wish and hopefully she'll recover. And for all of you that are watching this week, we hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving, great week to kind of just celebrate and focus on what matters most around you. And I encourage you to do that. With all the craziness around Black Friday and all the just the things, and the holidays have a tendency to really drive us to busyness, and we miss out on those moments that matters most. We talk about that all the time on the show. Knowing your why, know your why for why you're doing what you're doing this weekend. This Thursday, as you sit around the table, hopefully with friends. And if you're not, let me know. Would love to help connect you with somebody, because we don't, I don't know that I could, but I would love to try, because I don't like the idea of anyone having to celebrate the holiday alone. This is about friends. It's about gratitude, a lot of different things. So thankful for all of you. Thankful Tanya's still alive. She's in the comments saying I'm alive still. So I was wondering if she'd be in the comments, but there she is. So hello, Tanya. But very, very thankful for you all, as she said, and for all of you that watch it, Travel Tips Tuesday, each and every week, that tune in, that share this, that comment. Thank you. We are very, very grateful for you making this what it is. So we appreciate it. So thank you all again so much for joining us for another episode of Travel Tips Tuesday. Hopefully we will be back next week. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about what Thanksgiving was like for us, and I would love to hear about some of your Thanksgiving memories as well moving forward. But thank you all so much again for joining us on Travel Tips Tuesday, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.